armies draw near, and to my prayer incline, in arts gymnastic and in fraud divine.
Dire weapon of the tongue which men revere, be present, Hermes, and thyself plant here.
Welcome to Third Eye Bind, episode 43, Fire. Hi, I'm Laura.
And I'm Caitlin.
And welcome back to Third Eye Bind.
Welcome.
Welcome back. This week we are still distanced, but together in spirit.
But together. Together at heart.
Together at heart. So I want to do a little check-in.
Yeah.
I saw an earth spirit.
An earth spirit?
I did.
Tell us all about it, please.
Well, I will tell, not show, because this was a pretty wild experience.
Mm-hmm.
Went on a hike. I was in the Pacific Northwest. When I hike, I like to touch the trees along the way and like commune and thank them. And just kind of make sure I don't know. I went up to this peak and I was just chilling for a little bit, like really feeling really grounded. And on the way back down, I caught a glimpse of a face in a tree.
Mm-hmm.
The face was being created. It was like illuminated by light, the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And there was branches going through and making a shadow, and it looked like a face. And it was a face. And it was showing itself to me in that way. And how I know that is the feeling I got from it was different from just seeing like a spider web in the sun glistening or something. Like it was like intended to show itself in that way. And I caught like video and stuff, and I'm not going to share it online or whatever, but I will show you and a few other people because I'll text it to you.
I can't wait to see.
So that was a good time. I went and spent time with my mom and kayaked, and I held the toad, and it was nice.
You got to hold a toad? Was that a moment for you?
I got to hold a really big bullfrog, and it was so, oh my God, it was so cool. Mm-hmm. The rest of the experience was fucking weird and insane, and I'll tell you about that another time too. But yeah, it was like some Tiger King shit gone wrong. Things were not what they seemed.
Not a hello, not a fuck you.
It was weird. I will tell you about that. Mike said it's Tiger King. It was Tiger King masquerading as a sanctuary for animals.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of those sanctuaries are that way, unfortunately.
I Googled it as we were in the parking lot. It's like, well, we gotta go. My mom took me. It was wild. I'll share details later. So that was fun.
Fascinating.
What else is new? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. What you said about your hike reminded me of one of my favorite parts about visiting Ahwahnee Yosemite is that on the way in, at least if you're going through the El Portal entrance, you go through all of these, you have to cross a couple of bridges. And along the bridges, one side is the Merced River, and on the other side are these big rock formations. And my favorite thing is as we arrive before each bridge, I like leave an offering for the spirits so that we can cross well and be welcomed. And when you look at the rocks, you can see the faces forming, like their noses, their eyes, their brow bones, their mouths. And I just think that's so magical and special and something that you miss if you aren't open to seeing it. And it's really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, after I saw that face, that illuminated face, I swear to you, every tree I looked at on the way down from this hike had a expression and a face. Like a specific, and my brother and my mom were like way ahead of me, and I was just like touching them, like they're probably like, this bitch, this fucking bitch. They're like, okay, my mom's into it, but my brother's like, all right, okay. I saw a bunny, I freak out because I'm from the city, so whatever.
It's exciting.
It was really a beautiful. I needed to see that. moment. So it was
Magic is real.
magic is real. Magic's real.
Well,
And what's real is that we have merch now. So that's a thing.
yes, we have
have
merch. You can shop it via our YouTube page, right?
Yeah, it should be right down here if you're watching on YouTube, or else it'll
Okay.
be linked in the show notes. So
Yeah, we should
have
link it on
merch.
our website too.
it'll be linked everywhere. It's linked
Everywhere.
everywhere. Instagram, you can
Yes.
find it.
and
And Patreon.
your purchases help support this show, this independent podcast, to continue doing what we do. And you
Yes.
love what we do, so why not? And if you're looking for a way to support us consistently every month, we invite you to please check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Third Eye Bind, where you will find some really cool tiers where you can sign up to contribute to the show every month. And I think there's like stickers involved.
Yes, I have at this point shipped out all of your stickers. So if you join the $10 up tier, you will get sent within a few weeks
Some really cool stickers
from me when I notice that there's a new patron, a sticker pack. So, yay.
So please support our independent podcast. Help us keep the lights on, the cameras rolling, and yeah, tell a friend about us too while
It's
you're
a good
at
way
it.
to be like, oh, what's that tea about? Oh, it's Third Eye Bind.
It's Third Eye Bind.
Third Eye Bind, guys.
Duh.
Yeah.
Well, what are we talking about this week, Laura?
We are talking about fire.
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 Dun, 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 dun. Yes, we are continuing with our our elements series.
Yeah.
Last season, we did a show on water, and it was really cool.
Yeah. So each season, we're going to hit one of the episodes with a element. So this season's element is fire.
Yes, and I'm curious what the cards have to say
Yes.
about this week. That's it. Okay. What will it be? It's never something we expect.
No, it's not.
I pulled the Five of Wands.
Yes. Before this, I was like, this better be wands.
I pulled the Five of
It's
Wands.
wands. I'm excited.
And I think this is interesting because this is what it sounds like when doves cry. It's Prince. But the Five of Wands is a card of struggle. It's a card of struggle. And fire is an element that we both rely on as humans, but cannot be truly controlled or contained by us.
It's a dual element.
And maintaining the balance of our relationship with fire can be challenging. Kind of reminds me of how, indigenous people in the Americas used to do controlled burns.
Control burns.
Because there are certain parts of the forest, there are certain trees, I think it's evergreens, where the pine cones, which hold the seeds can only pop out and replant themselves if they get hot enough to open up and release the seeds. So like fire is actually very much necessary in order to have the continuation of the legacy of the forest, right?
Yeah.
But fire is also one of those things when we as human beings make choices that are out of alignment with nature and earth. Fire can cause incredible destruction.
Yeah.
Incredible destruction.
And that's happening right now in Maui at the time we're recording this. And in an unprecedented, ecological situation that's just the warming of the planet is fire energy. Fire is destructive. And those the controlled burns that you mentioned, when we don't listen to wisdom of our elders and the earth's elders, which are the indigenous people, bad shit happens because those people lived in harmony with these things for so long that when we eradicated their systems, it threw things off balance, right? So like those controlled burns are necessary for that, and also to clear
stop
away
wildfires.
the excess. So they strategically burn things so that they prevent something from going nuts. You know,
Yes.
and it's yeah.
Yeah. And I think like one of the most frustrating things about the conversation around the fire in Maui, at least what I'm seeing a lot in like the news, the standard news, is that like this is like an environmental disaster. And it's like, no, this is a colonial disaster.
Yeah, it's not
Like,
caused by just random the earth doing it.
no.
There are reasons why.
It comes from the way like land is treated and people are treated in the systems that we exist under today, the exploitation of the land that we live on. And so I do think this is actually a really perfect card, because when we are working with fire, we have to be cognizant of, yes, it has this ability to light up our lives and light up our worlds and warm our hearts, but it also has the power to destroy things in a way that goes so far beyond our control and ability to stop it.
Yeah. It can be really scary and painful. I mean, all the elements, and that, you know, the earth is not just good and love and light. The earth is destructive, and Mother Nature is aggressive in that way. And it can be, but it's this vast like spectrum of situations, right? Like air, when it's out of control, could be a tornado. Like water can be a flood, tsunami, the combination of the elements, or a hurricane, which
Yeah, we dealt with a hurricane
at my
and an
house
earthquake.
was not that great it wasn't that powerful of a hurricane, but
Yeah, it was
I
more
was
of a tropical
scared.
storm. Did you feel the earthquake?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did.
it was fascinating.
Mike didn't feel
Fascinating
it.
few days.
Mike was outside, and I was trying to call him like, babe, is that earthquake? Like, and I'm not mad scared because like I'm from California.
we're from here.
I've been through so many, but Mike's like next level because he was in the '89 quake in San Francisco. So he's not scared of them at all. I'm like, I get under the table like a good little Samaritan.
Like how they taught us.
Like how they taught us.
Cool.
I do. And then Mike's like
Duck and cover.
making a grilled cheese. And I'm like,
Yeah.
get under the fucking table.
Yeah, Brian lived
He's
through
like,
the Northridge
cool.
earthquake,
Yeah.
so
They
he's
don't-
also
They're built
just
different.
like, yeah,
San Francisco people are built differently when it comes to earthquakes, for sure.
for sure. Yes. I would love
Earthquakes.
to hear a little bit about your relationship to fire when it comes to magic.
It's always present. I think that candles, I mean, obviously, what's the way to maintain fire is to put it on something that'll burn consistently. I think candles, I mean, I have candles tattooed on my arm. Like, candles to me are like, if I had to pick one thing to just use forever and ever for a spell, it would be a candle, a lit candle. It's just everything can be, all the elements are sort of present for this, like for a candle. In terms of me as a person, that's sort of where I go when I think of like what's in my chart. You know, I do have Sagittarius, Saturn, and then one that's like Uranus or some shit like that that's there forever. And I get bored with those because I'm like, well, everyone's got that. You know, in my generation or whatever, the year you were born, where it's present for like 7 years. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
whatever. Like generational astrology signs or planets. We really need to get an astrologer on this show, like ASAP, because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But yeah, I think I aspire. I think fire's there. I think it gets out of control for me a little bit. I don't have a lot of fire in my chart, but I have a lot of air. Fire and air get a little out of hand. If you put them together, they can go whew. And like, I definitely have that, you know, side of my personality, I guess, if you want to be Literal. It's been associated with me like in a weird way my entire life because I'm a redhead. It's like fire crotch, like things like that. Like just, and I do have a fire crotch, so it's very pretty. I do have red pubes. For everyone out there wondering, I do. I can.
Lauren has confirmed it here.
Here today. You hear it first. Because everyone's wondering. I carry the redhead gene, so I am soulless and fiery and a witch. And I have freckles, so I'm a demon. So there we go. Checks all the boxes. I think it's something I aspire to be. Like fire for me is like confidence. Like it's like a constant burn, like the thing that burns bright, like your passion, like the things that seem to dwindle for me when I feel like not great about myself or not good about what I'm doing. And like as an entrepreneur and a person that's like works for themselves and has to do a lot of jobs, like I could use more of it a lot of the time because it's not my predominant element at all. It's definitely, it's like, you're kind of a bitch sometimes.
Swords.
We'll throw the Saturn in there. That's sort of where it comes out. But, it's like, you're kind of sassy. Like the Queen of Swords. Here you go. Whatever. Even though swords are air, right? Well, that tracks too. But yeah. But it's sort of the last element that I'm very earthy. I'm very like, I want to hunker down and like do the things I do. And I think fire is like, yeah, it can spread and hurt you, but it can also spread and inspire you and like keep you going and like clear out shit that you don't need and like, just burning bridges, like that kind of stuff. So I think it's aspirational for me, Yeah. What about you?
I agree. Fire is very aspirational for me. Whenever I pull cards about myself and the direction that I'm moving, I always pull the Queen of Wands, and I'm like, I want to be them.
You're like, I would like that, yes, please.
I would love that, yes, please, because wands are the suit of our inspiration, our passion, the inherent drive to be alive in these bodies in this lifetime, and the Queen of Wands like radiates such confidence and certainty in this energy. Like wands are also the suit of sensuality and sexuality and passion, and like she's just got this big warm like I don't look for things, the things I need come looking for me type of vibe. And I think that's fucking cool because my chart is all water and air. So we'll rock you like a hurricane. All water and air. I have a lot of Cancer in my chart. I don't want to leave the house. I'm very happy imagining things in my head and never doing them.
That's a Gemini trait.
Extremely satisfying.
Such a Gemini thing to do.
I can imagine a whole situation and then like that's good. I actually don't have to do anything. And it's funny because my partner is an Aries and has a fire dominant chart. And so like I tell him all the time, if it wasn't for you, B, like we wouldn't do anything.
Right.
Like I am so content being at home and not leaving. But if it wasn't for you, like we wouldn't have all of these awesome experiences that I can't think of or pull off by myself, that's for sure. And so I'm grateful to have that balance in our household. But yeah, fire is also very aspirational for me. When it comes to like magic, fire is an important part of my spiritual practice, in that part of the altars that we maintain, we have to have a white candle on all of them. And these candles are things that we continue to tend to as they burn. And the candles are symbols for both warmth that we offer to our good spirits and like lighting the way, leading them to us through their light, which I think is really pretty and magical. For magic, I guess I'm like, I don't do a lot of candle spells, but that's not true. I just don't cast a lot of spells in general. I
Yeah.
try to like, we talk about this a lot.
Yeah.
Like if you're living the life the way you
Mhm.
should be, you don't really have to cast a lot of spells.
No.
But I've been better about, at least these last few months, every new moon, because I'm trying to do a big thing. So I got to repeat the candle
Yeah.
spells
Yeah.
consistently. But I really love like creating these altars around the candle in the center and just like making it kind of a show, which I think is also very fire energy to be like super extra, kind of like Leo Sag vibes.
Yeah.
Very vibey. So I love fire as a way to bring desires into fruition, to bring desires into reality. I think it's a really beautiful complement for when you're wanting to accomplish something big and you're making the moves in the real world. But to,
Yeah.
like light that flame.
Yes. If you're feeling like you need motivation, confidence, consistency, like
energy.
candles. Like, I don't know, candles, they're just amazing. Yeah, like we're all very, very tired, and I've been a little depressed, and you know, it's just like, even just wearing red right now, I feel more energized. Like, yeah,
Me too.
let's
The red lips, like all of it makes a difference.
Yeah, so it's it does it goes into glamour too, like the color red, you know, red lips, like there's something about the pigment of red in nature that just catches your eye. It just, I'm sure there's a reason. I'm not like a scientist, but you know, red is a stop sign. Red means the red is there to get your attention.
Absolutely. It's captivating.
How we use it in our societies, it's there, it draws your eye in, you know, and that's consistent with like fire lighting the way. I have to tell you about this documentary. There's a series called Unknown on Netflix, and one's about like killer robots, and AI and shit. But one
not killer robots.
Oh. One is about this archaeological dig that they did in Africa, where, you know, hominid species are found, and our earliest ancestors of the human race are found.
The womb of creation.
The womb of creation is in Africa, and like they found in a cave this new hominid species that was related to us.
Cool.
They're smaller.
Cool.
They predate, like, forgot what, like, they're like old, like pre-Neanderthal old. And something that old typically doesn't use tools or bury the dead or have spiritual thoughts. They think, because their brains are so small, right? Because we typically associate brain size with
intelligence,
things like that, like intelligence, advanced humanistic qualities. And what they found was that they dated these bones and like put together this little skeleton with this tiny brain, but the skeleton was buried deep in this cave. I mean, like,
intentional.
You didn't just walk in there, and yes, they intentionally buried their dead, and they were like, holy shit, that changes the way we think about brain size. That's the way we think about what it means to be human. Like, when those things came, it was a really cool documentary. And it's really beautiful because they're talking about like what it means to be human, and like what afterlife and spiritual thoughts, like how instinctive that is. But the crazy thing is that it's a pitch dark cave, and it's like this, you walk up to this like ledge, and then it goes like very narrow down into this chamber. And in that chamber was where the people were buried.
So they had to have some sort of light.
So what I think a lot of like ancient civilization cultures would do is like light a fire and then go light another fire with that fire and then go light another and make a trail of fire in order to see, which in itself is like an advanced ass thing to do, is to make fire in order to get to this cave. So it's this whole series of like them figuring out all this advanced shit they had to do in order to go and bury like one person. They had to go through all this trouble, but like and like why, and it's just like why. It was just really fascinating. But fire came into it, like our instinct to understand that like fire is life and light, and like it's just crazy. It was really beautiful and made me think about fire in a way that like when you light fire, you're seeing things in a totally different light, literally. Like if you're in the pitch dark world and you light fire, like you're seeing shadows, you're seeing everything differently. And it's just sort of like that too when it's a mood, it's a vibe, and it's different for us because we have like electricity and all these advanced modern
Ring lights.
Selfie sticks with ring lights. But it's almost like the reverse of that for us because we're so like spoiled with electricity that when we turn the lights out and light a candle, it creates like this really interesting ambiance that was probably just like a normal ass night to those people. Do you know what I mean? Like it's the way we even like our relationship with light and fire is so advanced that like taking it away and making it really simplistic is like spooky or like frightening. Yeah, like it's very interesting. But yeah,
that reminds me of this thing that I saw about like ancient cave drawings and how they look really simplistic with like all of the archaeological light floodlights and shit. But like I can't remember what documentary I was watching. This one person realized that if you turn off all the lights and use fire instead, the pictures move.
God.
Like you can see the animals moving and the people moving in the pictures. So even though they seem really simple at first with all of this advanced lighting, when you take it way back and use the really simple fire, candlelight, you see just how complex these images really are. And I think that is a really cool way to think about fire as this way, not light itself, but fire specifically as this way to connect with what's otherwise unseen.
Yeah. Let's talk about fire scrying and smoke scrying for a sec. It's that fire is it moves. Fire dances. Fire dances. It's not like a stagnant bowl of water that you're scrying into. When you scry with fire, you see shit real easily because of all the movement and the smoke, and there's just a lot going on with it, you know.
There's a lot of intensity even in just one little flame.
Yes, like, and the way that, you know, some people read candle flame movements, or like it'll react to just, I don't know, things and air. And like something I like to do is if I like a fire pit or something and take a picture of a candle or take a picture of the fire and then look at it and see what I see, you know, like it's really interesting and beautiful and like dimensional. Like fire is very vibrant.
It reminds me of how when I do candle magic and I first light the flame, it's small. But the more that I talk to it and pray over it and like share my intentions and energy with it, like all of a sudden the fire just grows and grows and grows. And like maybe there's a scientific explanation for that, but like to me, that's magic. Like that is real magic to see.
But science is magic too.
Science is magic, just explained by dudes in white coats. Something else that it made me think of as you were talking is all of the stories that exist across the globe about how humans came to have relationship with fire and how there's always a trickster spirit who's the one who brings it to them. Like Prometheus stole fire from Olympus and brought it down to the humans. And there's the story of the crow who brings fire and the sun to humans. And the sun really is our life force, right? Like we can't exist without the sun, and that's a giant ball
of fire.
And that's so cool.
But if it gets out of control, which it kind of, because of us, it kind of is.
Or if you fly too close to the sun.
Icarus.
Like Icarus, if you fly too close to it, your wings melt.
There was a sculpture forest that I went to where there's some of them were like kind of ugly, but They were, I'm sorry. But like some of them are really cool. Like I turned the corner and there was like a T-Rex carved out of a fallen tree just sitting there. I was like, holy shit. But there was like a wire sculpture of a unicorn like glistening like a spider web in the tree. Anyway, it's this trail you go on and you come across these things. And it said Icarus was here. That's what it was called. And it was a bunch of wings, like metal wings, like fallen. And it was so cool. And it just reminded me of that. Like,
That's really neat.
yeah, it was cool.
Yes. Something else that came to mind, you said something earlier about fire cleansing things.
Yeah. Like burning bridges and like
Yeah,
getting rid
burning
of no longer
bridges.
what you need. Yeah. I like to
And
burn things.
there's this passage in the Bible where John the
Bible?
Baptist, the Bible, the big book of Bible, where John the Baptist tells people of Christ's coming. And he says, where I baptize you in water, he will baptize you in fire.
Hot.
And fire really is, it's so hot. Like, ow.
They're like, tell me
Promise?
when. Promise? Pretty please?
You promise? But, water has its own ability to be rough, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But this idea of purification through fire is really fucking cool, really fucking magical. Because when you think about like sand turning into glass, that happens through fire. Or even when it comes to precious metals, we melt them down and purify them in the fire so
ceramics,
that we can separate them.
in,
Exactly.
like a kiln.
Like we become reborn through fire in ways that aren't necessarily possible through water. And one of the shamanic tools that I learned from one of my teachers, Erika Buenaflor, is walking through, when we lead people through a trance journey, we can walk them through these chambers of flames. And the first are these violet fires, and it is in these violet fires that we offer up whatever it is we're ready to release. Like, these are the things we're intentionally ready to let go of, and you give it to the fire. And then you walk through the chamber of the white fires, and the white flames are the ones that are like, we see the stuff you're not ready to let go of, and we're going to clear that away next. And there's this like deeply purifying experience that comes through energetically walking through these flames. And on the way back out, you walk through them again, and like you are reborn. You are reborn through fire. And like that's fucking cool and kind of scary, but exciting. I think it's really neat.
You can also get like you can get a laser treatment on your skin and it will it does. Like I've done that, like
Whole new you.
IPL. It'll it burns this, I guess, first few layers of your fucking face, and then you renew. The youth comes back. Like there are beauty treatments with fire, like lasers and things like that. There are light shows with fire lasers and all that stuff. Like it's purification through fire. Sounds cool.
Right? Like that's when you need, it also helps me
I feel like I need that.
reframe the idea of hell. Right? Like if I was
gonna say, it sounds like the
the circles
Mordor.
of hell. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Or Mordor. Mordor
You know what I mean?
is a big, fiery, lava-filled cavern.
You have to throw the ring. The way you're going to destroy the one ring is to throw it in the fire.
The only way you can purify the energy is to throw it in the flames of Mordor.
Yeah.
Right? Abso-fucking-lutely, though. And
I'm not going to throw it in the lake of Eldonquin or whatever. Like,
well, and like, okay,
it's still gonna be there.
It's still gonna be there.
Like the heart of the ocean, still gonna be there.
It might cleanse it.
Yeah.
But it won't destroy it.
No.
Which is interesting. And when we think of Christianized hell, this idea of hell being this place full of flames, is it really a punishment? Or is it a place where folks who were unable to reconcile their unkind or even evil behaviors to be purified and reborn into somebody who maybe gives a shit about creation,
Yeah.
gives a shit about other people. Maybe
Yeah.
it's not so much about being flogged by fucking little demons. Maybe it's a baptism in its own right, a
Maybe.
rebirth in its own right. I think there are certain things that can only be purified through the strength of fire. And when, like, you are so invested in wickedness, like that, maybe fire is the exact type of cleansing and clearing you need to be reborn in a way where you can be appreciative of the world that around you, kind to the world around you.
I'm
I don't
laughing
know.
because you think that's why they like burned witches? They drowned them too, but and hung them. No, they did a lot of things.
To purify them.
But maybe that was part of, like, I don't know, their
Maybe.
religious that's the way you just
Zealotness.
did someone dirty you really wanted to hurt, because that's a slow and painful, well, not slow, but it's painful getting
I feel
burned
like
alive. That's
the Spanish
awful.
were just really into torture.
Yeah, I think
by any
people were
means.
just, the European
But it
witch
could
hunts.
be.
Yeah.
It could be. Like, it could have something to do with, like, the idea of purifying a soul. And while we know that, like, most, probably all, arguably all, of the people who were murdered, burned
Yeah.
during the witch trials weren't evil at all. They were
No.
healers,
Definitely not in
landowners,
Salem. And most people
midwives.
were just, We'll talk about that in our witch
Jews.
trials episode.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get more into that. I'll
But
do some research on the methods.
it kind of
in
makes
which
me wonder, if they were trying to burn out the heresy, which is not what Jesus Christ was all about.
They probably were just like, well, they associate fire with evil, so they're probably like, it goes together.
To the flames of hell.
To the flames.
What's
But
that
then there's
movie
cultures
that's
that,
traumatizing.
like in Star Wars, they burn the Jedi,
Yeah.
and it's a sign of honor. Like,
And I think in some of South Asian
and
cultures,
Nordic, I believe.
yeah, funeral pyres.
Yeah, funeral pyres. Like,
And it's a way to release the soul
Yeah.
from the body.
Yeah.
And that's like,
yeah, that's how I want to go.
magical.
I always tell Mike that's
Yes.
how, and you hear first. A lot about me today on this podcast. Yeah, I want to be like burned in a pyre in a way that like no one will ever forget me, because it's
Ashes to
messed up to
ashes.
see. I want to traumatize people at my
At your funeral.
yeah. I want you to find on Fiverr, whatever, no, TaskRabbit, find like a TaskRabbit like pseudo Wiccan priestess. I really don't care. Just and then light me on fire and push me into the ocean. And do 3 Hail Marys and call it a day. I don't give a shit.
Just mix them all up.
I want to mix and match. And you'll never forget that shit.
I
And
do
I'll
love
live
the
forever
idea.
in your memory.
I'm gonna live forever.
I'm going to put it in my will. I don't care.
I do love the idea of a funeral pyre. I think it's really beautiful.
It is
and
beautiful.
cool. Yeah, the like
That's how they
release
do
of
it
the
on
spirit.
Supernatural too.
They burn the demons.
No, they burn what the hell they call themselves? When the good guys die, they burn them on a pyre. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a whole.
I think it's kind of cool. So like the whole body
feels
turns
right
to
me,
ash.
and that's probably
Yeah.
how my ancestors did it. One of them.
Mhm.
And that's probably why I have the urge to be burned when I die. Not cremated. Like, I want people to see it happen.
It's an event.
It's an event. It's
Yeah.
like an Evite. Like, let's.
There will be cocktails.
There's a cocktail party, burn, push out into the ocean, orgy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Absolutely. Why not? Okay, which reminds me, speaking of orgies,
Oh,
it kind of reminds me of Februalia, which was a fire rite or ceremony in ancient Rome.
ooh.
And it was basically like the mating game. Like it was all about fucking. Like it was about
Oh.
orgy, hooking up, partnering, and like there's a big flame that happened in the center of it. And it was also like a purification
Yeah.
ceremony. And so like the connection between fire and sensuality is really cool too.
That's probably why the church doesn't like it and associates it with evil too, because it has
Yeah.
to do with pleasure and
Fire and
trickster and
fucking.
boning and
Yes.
all the fun pleasures in life.
Mhm.
Everything's
okay.
connected, I swear.
And when you think of wands are pretty phallic in the
Yeah.
tarot. They're just like giant boners.
Big old boners.
Big old boner.
What were we talking about? Was it the trickster episode where we were talking about like the shrines to Hermes that were just
and
big
his
giant
big old boner.
penises? Yeah, it's great.
Yes. And you go the direction that it's
It's
pointing.
all south,
Right this way.
west, east. Yeah, I want that. You know how people have weather vanes on the top of their roofs?
Yeah, you're just gonna be Hermes' dick.
I want Hermes dicks.
Just spinning around in the
Yeah.
wind.
I'm gonna take up metal arts and
Just do that.
just sell them on Etsy. It's fine.
Honestly, sounds lucrative to me.
It sounds very
gonna,
lucrative.
Spirit Halloween's not gonna knock that shit off, that's for sure.
Cut to, they have a plastic version of my
Hermes
dick.
dick earrings.
New business plan. Make things no one will ever steal because it's fucking wild. I'm into it.
Please make a Hermes dick weather vane.
I can make, I'm going to make a Hermes dick weather vane pin for our Third Eye Bind shop that spins.
Yes, please do.
Oh my God. I want it.
Yes. Okay, and that moment where you were like,
Yeah,
idea.
That's
fire.
That's fire.
That's fire.
So I guess I
energy.
do use more fire
That's
than I
Wands
think
energy.
because it's creative energy. I do actually. And you know
And the
what?
truth
Saturn's
is-
like the ruler of like business, I think. I think it's like business or like something like that. Again, we need an astrologist just sitting here on hand. Right now it's my dog. But like
Hermes is the spirit
yeah.
of merchantry. Well, one of them.
yeah.
And trade.
Yeah. But like, yeah, the planet, whatever, the planet that I have fire in my chart, I think is that. So that makes sense. don't know.
Interesting. Yes. Well, and also like I think sometimes we're hard on ourselves when we're not constantly coming up with new ideas, especially when we live in this like
Oh God.
Amazon Prime, like TikTok viral world where we constantly need to be churning out content rather than art. It's about content. And the truth is, like, no one can stay in fire all the time forever. It's just not possible. It's not healthy.
You burn out.
You burn out.
Yeah.
Burning out. Like, that is a phrase we hear a lot right now. And, like, it's no coincidence that we're using this phrase rather than, like, washed out.
Washed up.
You mean something different. Washed
You're
up.
aired out.
You're aired out. No, you're burnt out because
You're burnt out.
we light the candle on both ends, and then we wind up with nothing left to give, no energy to actually create anything that we feel confident and excited about.
That's the key.
Mm-hmm.
We can create bullshit all day, but to create something you feel confident and excited about is where you don't feel like you're living a soulless, repetitive existence. I'm talking about myself. A soulless, repetitive existence, especially with turning out content. Like all my fall stuff that I'm dropping, I really love.
You can tell too.
And I didn't do any bullshit ideas. Like I just told myself I'm making less things. I want to make things that are important to me. And like, that's how I feel joy, is like being a creative person and continue and seeing things I birth out be enjoyed and come to life. That's just what I do. And how I maintain happiness. And when it's hard when I get burnt out because there's still expectations that I can't meet in the same way. And when I get something, I'm like, oh, I'm excited about this. Like that helps. But it's just this constant, like, it's never enough. It's never enough. What I'm doing is never enough because I do all the things, most of the things. And it's just it's never going to be enough or perfect or enough followers or enough orders or enough money. It's never going to be that. And what I'm trying to, like, you asked me how I was earlier, and I was like, I am grateful for what I have. And I said it sarcastically, but like, I literally have been trying to let the candle burn slowly and like just, or put out some of the other candles and just have a very simplistic altar space, altar within myself, like just a very, I need to go back to basics and realize like what I'm grateful for, what I have, because there's so many little fires everywhere in my brain that I have, you know, it's hard to like tend to all of them at once.
You can't.
Yeah, you can't. And it's just you can't. And that's a coping mechanism that I'm trying to imbue and actually believe for myself. So
I think something a lot of neurodivergent folks have in common is that like we go through these seasons where we have so many ideas, and there's so much energy going into the like receiving of these ideas, experiencing these ideas, that as they're all coming out, we're like, but how am I going to do it? How am I going to do all of it? And we think that like if we don't get it done right now, it'll never happen because we forget things.
yeah.
But
Or someone's going to take the idea,
someone's
or
gonna take
the
it.
idea will just, and it's true. Sometimes you have to capture what you need to capture, but I do
Yeah.
believe that what's meant to go to you will sort of come to you.
Well, and you know what? Just because somebody does it doesn't mean that you can't.
No, it does not.
Because if you're doing it in your way,
Yeah.
in a true to you way,
Yeah.
it's not going to be the same thing, and that's okay.
It's just the capitalistic, like,
I gotta do it first.
oh my God. It's like the amount of time, this is
Exhausting.
like totally logistical, but like the amount of time it takes for me to plan, produce, design, produce, photograph, list a fucking collection is like like it's already almost, it's like too late for the holiday season right now, almost, if I wanted to make something. Like the amount of time I have to work, I'm just like on a little treadmill, like, like the amount of which the speed and the amount of things I have to do is like a lot. And it's a lot for a lot of people. And we're like little hamsters on I feel like a hamster on a wheel. And I'm tired. I want to just go in my cave and like sleep or die sometimes, honestly. And that's where I'm at. And it's like, I have to force myself to like simplify my thoughts and keep like just less fire. Like the fire that matters. Does that make sense? Like keep the energy that matters, like
Stoke what you can.
controlled a little bit. Stoke what you can. Yeah. It's crazy. It's a lot. It's a lot for a lot of people right now. And be interested to see what people think about when they think about fire, you know, like, because everyone's got a different relationship with all the different elements. And like, if a super fiery person's like, just like, oh, it's no problem, you know, like Mike is a Leo rising and he's a lot of fire, like energy. And it's good. I think it's good. Like you said about your partner, like, you're the only reason why we leave the house, sort of a thing. Like Mike's the only reason why I probably have any friends still, because I'm so busy, or like, you know, like it's just, he likes people, he likes to talk, he likes to, and I sort of sometimes don't. I have moments where I'm like, I'm on, but then I'm like, ooh, I'm not. That's very.
We call Brian the mayor because he wants to talk to everybody, get to know everybody, shake all the hands, kiss all the babies. And I am like, why are you talking to strangers?
I'm like, why are you being so nice to people? Like Michael do stuff, and I'm like, why are you being so nice right now? You're doing extra things.
Stop making more friends.
Stop drawing attention.
It's freaking me out, man.
Yeah, but
and I think people are usually surprised to hear that about me, because when it comes to my work, whether it's this podcast or like servicing clients, like I'm very on. Like my brand color is red. I am a performer and an entertainer at heart. Even though I am doing spiritual labor, I do it in a way that amuses the people. And I love that about me. But the second the camera is off, makeup wipe, quiet.
That's me. I am also a performer, literally. That's what I do. But that doesn't mean that because I can be a talkative Gemini that I don't have a very deep introverted side. that once I'm off,
We have
I'm
duality.
like in and out, blanket, no talky talk, alone. I need a
Literally.
lot of alone time.
Mm-hmm.
And I need a lot of time to recharge the battery pack
Mm-hmm.
so that I can entertain and do these things. And like, it's, yeah.
It's hard. It's
Uh-huh.
hard to manage. Yeah.
It's
And I'm
draining.
grateful that the kids are back in school, and something that I am, even though I miss them and have anxiety about it all the time, but I did buy them little AirTag watches so I can see them on the map constantly. 'Cause
Oh, that's great.
crazy, but I just need
No,
to know where
you,
they are all the time.
I have
These are
AirTags on my dogs.
okay. See,
I get it. I'm a crazy dog mom. Like, I get
yeah,
it.
I
I
put
get it.
AirTags on the kids, and I got the big one, a cell phone, but it's the kind that you can only call and text on. You can't do any apps or anything like that. Um,
That's great.
because we do what we got to do.
Yeah.
But something that I am constantly trying to balance is like I also need a lot of alone time, but I have two small children. And these hours while they're at school, I'm like, I have to fill them with work. I have to fill them with making money.
Mm-hmm.
And every year I set out to like be more intentional about making time to just do nothing. To just do nothing while they're at school. And it's hard because I see open slots. I hear people wanting readings. Like I could use some extra money because late stage capitalism is fucking expensive. Bread is $9. Like it's outrageous. And
Yeah.
I have to consciously and constantly remind myself, like, babe, you have to leave days open, like do nothing. And I can't remember if my mentor made the meme or like reposted it, but I remember seeing something about how like creatives need time to do absolutely nothing.
I think I
Like
reposted that.
you posted it. Yeah.
I
Okay. I
didn't
knew
make it,
somebody
but I
did.
reposted
Yeah.
it.
Like creatives need time
Yes.
to do zero.
Yes.
Like sleep, binge watch shows, eat, and not feel guilty about that time because we need it the same way we need to drink water.
Yeah. 100% feel you.
Mhm.
It's
We can't keep the flame going all the time. We have to
Yeah.
take rest.
a reason why I don't want children of my own is because I know I would not do well with it. I need like, I don't want to. I don't want to, I need that time. I, as me as an individual, can't handle that
Yeah.
additional responsibility.
It's a hard
And-
adjustment, friend.
No, I can't even imagine, like,
Mhm.
respectfully, like, I can't even
Mhm.
imagine. And it freaks me out to think about. But
Mhm.
like,
I
even
think
having
that
a
it's
partner,
good.
even living with a partner that
Yeah.
I'm around 24/7 and we work together and we are both
Mhm.
like, even that's a lot for me sometimes. And I think fire people feed off of other people's energy, and from what I've experienced, like being around other people, and like
They love it.
they love
that
it. They're
shit.
like, blah, blah, blah. And I really, 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 really need a lot of alone time. So
Mhm.
that's been an interesting, like, kind of struggle for me internally, is like also not feeling guilty about it. Also being like,
Yeah.
hey, babe, like,
Can you stop talking to me?
without
for-
hurting your feelings, your watery and fiery feelings, like, can I just not be around you right now? You know, and it's so
completely
sad, but it's
understand.
like, I really, no, for real, like, I even feel bad because he's right here, like, but I love
Sorry,
him, like,
Mike.
we're together all the time, but like, I don't know, I feel guilty for that. I really do.
I completely understand. Okay, so as I was getting ready for filming today, I'm like trying to like zone out with like reality shows background noise, just fucking glue my eyelashes on, think about what we're doing. And like when I'm doing my makeup, like that's my please don't talk to me.
Mhm.
Like I can't concentrate on both things. And my husband kept popping in and out going, can I show you this video? What do you think about this video? Did I show you this? Did you watch the video I sent you? And he's like, I'm sorry, I just miss you. And I'm like, oh my God, I love you.
Wow.
And I love that you love to be around me, but please stop talking to me.
Yeah. Mike's covering his face with a notebook right now.
Because he gets it.
Yeah, no, it really, like, my time when I don't want anybody to talk to me is when I'm going to bed. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not a person that's like, let's gossip in bed. I'm like, I'm under my weighted blanket it shall take me away to Valhalla. Like, I'm like, and he wants to
I'm
like,
already gone.
tickles me and stuff. I'm like, can you just not exist during this time? Please.
Please.
But it's okay. It's fine. But like, he's laughing.
We love our fire partners.
I'm sorry, babe. Yeah, but I need him. I need him to balance me out because
otherwise I would be a recluse.
I would just be with some fucking idiot that like didn't ever want to do anything and like didn't push me as a person because of the thing that my partner has done. I just think that fire energy is important for me to have as me.
Absolutely.
Because I will be a little bit back in I'll like sit back a little bit, you know?
Yes.
And it's important.
It's important. You know, I grew up.
He's also older and it's hot. Sorry. Okay, bye.
And he's cute.
He's cute and it's kind of hot. All right, it's fine. Kind of like it, okay?
But like I grew up in, like many Latin American kids, we grew up with this understanding that you're seen and not heard. Not so much from my mom. My mom was very anti that. Like she was the first ancestral curse breaker. But like
IBS.
my grandparents,
the IBS. Not really.
ABS,
ABS.
Oh, ACB. I don't know. I can't think.
ACAB IBS. What?
Curse breaker.
There's a lot of
ACB. Ancestral curse breaker.
There's a lot of letters.
ACB. We gotta do that on a T-shirt or something.
ASB. ACB.
Ancestral
ASB president?
breaker.
No, ACB president. Like ASB. We're gonna have a lot of new merch after this episode. We got the penis things and
I can't wait. Some really specialized niche items.
I'm not kidding. What's happening? Oh my god, we can make a bumper sticker. ACB president? My child
What about a bumper sticker with Hermes' penis?
Yes.
Right this way.
Right this way, sir.
As I was saying.
Anyway, sorry.
I grew up under like this idea, and all of my cousins, like kids are seen and not heard. You don't talk back. That's for damn sure. And like whatever, you are respectful to all adults, no matter how they treat you. And my husband was the one who was like, you know, you don't have to take other people's shit, right? I was like, what, sir, what are you talking about?
Wow.
I'm sorry, what? And it was in becoming friends and then later partners with him that I realized, like, oh, I'm allowed to stand up for myself. Oh, I'm allowed to say when I see things that are wrong. And because of him, like, our kids take no shit, like, from anyone. Like, they will stand up to a teacher, and they're not disrespectful, but like they're also cool not kids. Gonna roll over and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna let you treat me like shit. Absolutely not. Like, they stand up for their kids on the playground, they stand up for each other, they stand up for themselves. Even like with us, like I remember I don't remember what I said or what was going on, but they were like fighting because kids are like puppies, right? Like they like nibble at each other's ears, and I'm like trying to mediate, and they look at me and they're like, don't talk to my sibling like that. And I was like, whoa, bro.
You're like,
thought I was helping.
What? This is okay, I'm not needed here.
It's like them versus us now. And actually I kind of love that.
It's like, resolve it yourselves then.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I love that I don't have to worry about them. Like, I was the type of kid that if somebody stole something from me on the playground, I'd be like, okay, it's theirs now.
Yeah.
But like the other day at school, somebody took Lola's tarot deck, and Hunter went into every single classroom that was open and got it back.
Good.
Got it. Hunter was like, who took it? What were they wearing? I'll be right back.
That's amazing.
And I think that's so cool, because me, if I were a first grader and somebody took my shit, I'd be like, I guess it's gone forever.
I was afraid to raise my hand in class. Like, no.
Right?
I was shy.
And like that is all fire energy, and I think that's radical. I think that's so cool. Radical. Fire really is the energy of radical change.
Yeah. Burning something is a statement for bad and good. Burning books, burning people, burning
Burning bay
flags,
leaves. Burning flags.
bay leaves, herbs.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a statement
It's
to
a
burn
radical
something.
statement. Absolutely. When you're saying something with fire,
You're
you're saying
saying
it.
something. You're saying something if you do
You're
it with
saying
fire,
and you want everybody to know it.
and you want everybody to know it. Yeah.
That's fucking cool. Mm.
Wow. All
Yes.
right.
For better or worse.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Damn. Fire.
Fire.
Fire. Something else this is reminding me of, something I've been doing a lot of lately, are exorcisms. I've been doing them a lot more
Oh
frequently.
yeah, just doing
Cash,
exorcisms.
super cash. It's kind of one of those if you know type of things. I've never advertised it on my website, that's for sure, because there's still a lot of stigma and taboo around it. And the truth is, not every person who thinks they need an exorcism actually needs one. But part of the process is that Felicita, my guide, who's a water spirit, really, and some of the other spirits, will like remove these entities or energies from the client, and she sticks them in. She has this like old-timey, I guess, cast iron stove, and she burns whatever she pulls out of you to ash, and then like puts it in the water, and it goes down river and away from you. But I just feel like that's such a cool, it's always a really cool image, and I can always feel the fire next to me when she's doing it, that like the way to release somebody of these attachments entirely is to burn them. There's like this permanence in fire that's really cool.
It's like
magical.
very alchemic, you know. The elements are like alchemic in different ways. Of fire is just like depending on the material. Like
fire's like, are you sure?
Fire's like, I don't know.
Hope you're sure.
And also like baking and things like that, you know, are like recipes, and baking a muffin is fire.
Yeah,
you know, like
that's fire
transforming thing. That's baking it. We need to do it. We're gonna do a kitchen witch episode.
We're gonna do a kitchen witch episode. Yeah,
I will save
that's on the list.
my muffin talk for that episode.
Your muffins.
Yeah.
But we would love to hear from you about your relationship to fire energy, fire spirits. So drop in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube and tell us about your experiences with fire.
Please do.
We'd love to know. Yes. Or you can go to our website and fill out the submission form and send it in that way. I actually have a few letters from people that came through.
Yeah?
Yeah. Do you want me to read one?
Yeah, let's read one. Please.
Okay.
From the submission form?
From the submission form.
Would love.
Okay, which one do I want to read? I'll read the first one. So, thank you for sharing my spooky tales. Well, first it said Caitlin and Laura. Dear Caitlin and Laura, thank you for sharing my spooky tales on the podcast. Oh, this person shared on the Hauntings
On
episode.
our season finale
Our season finale. I cannot wait to see all of the magic and amazing coordinating outfits you're cooking up for next season. Cooking up fire.
There's one of them.
On another note, Caitlin asked the name from the building of my story. Oh, this was the like camp one.
Oh.
I'm not going to say the name of the building until I research it and can provide like information, but she gave us the name of the building and says this town is sort of a place where it almost feels like time is stuck. There are a lot of people who unfortunately harbor a lot of hate-filled values, which is part of the problem spiritually for sure. And the fact that everywhere you look, there's fast food chains, totally food deserts are real. Food apartheid is real. I try to do some digging on my own and have not had much success. If you happen to discover anything else about it, please let me know. I'm so curious. There's a local medium named Timothy who mentions the building briefly in one of his books, but I've never met him, so I'm not sure what he's like. Discernment is key, especially around here. LOL.
Nice.
Thank you both, Sarah.
Thanks, Sarah. That's so fun.
Sarah, I'm going to dig into this and figure out more for you because I love a research project.
Yeah. How fun.
Yes.
Thank you for writing and following up.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Do we want to answer a question?
Yeah, let's do a question.
Okay, let's pick a question. We did this one already. Do you want to talk about ancestors? Here, okay, here's a good one. Are there any books that you recommend that aren't necessarily witchy? So not witch specific books. Books that have helped you shift your spiritual perspective, or books about the earth and the world around us that you recommend in general. From Alex. So Alex, the first thing that comes to mind for me is actually perfect for the fire episode, The Alchemist. Like, read The Alchemist. The Alchemist is like my Bible. I do a lot of book scrying from The Alchemist, bibliomancy from The Alchemist. But it is just this beautiful poem about existence in human form, and the wild journeys that life in a human body is, and that it's kind of one of those books that you can turn to when everything feels really hard and you're kind of at a loss for faith. I think The Alchemist is really, really, really magical, and that is my number one like recommendation when folks want to get started on their spiritual journey. I'm like, start with this work of fiction.
That's amazing. I love actually finding inspiration from books that aren't witchy. A big one right now is Rick Rubin's book. What is it called? The Creative Act by Rick Rubin is amazing for any creative person, just to understand and hear from like another creative person how to harness it, how it work. Like he's a very like Zen kind of dude. He's a music producer. If you don't know, if anyone doesn't know who Rick Rubin is, and it lives creativity. And as a person who also lives being a creative, I really appreciate his perspective, and like it's just a really cool book. And also, well, Trickster Makes This World, of course, the book that started this podcast. I haven't actually finished it yet.
I haven't finished it yet either. It's dense.
It's dense, but it's really interesting. It's a really interesting look at Trickster in different ways. And one I'm reading currently to brush up on my witch trials knowledge for the episode we're going to do this season is called The Delusion of Satan.
Ooh, that sounds good.
And it was written in, I think, 99 or 2000. But it's about how the witch trials actually happened. What were the actual motives behind it, and how it relates to the world today, and like what we deal with in our society. And like it's really a human issue. It's not, it has nothing to do with actual witchcraft, and we'll get more into that. But A Delusion of Satan, very good, very cool book. I can't remember who wrote it right now, but yeah, that's sort of the vibe right now. I also really love my Goosebumps books, and I've been, because I have a children's publisher now, I've been researching a lot of children's books and revisiting my favorites, and like I love a Goosebumps book. I
loved Goosebumps.
Nice life lessons in a Goosebumps book. I really love Shel Silverstein's Where the Sidewalk Ends.
Oh, I love Where the Sidewalk Ends.
They're limericks. They're
The Giving Tree fucks me up every time I read it. The Giving Tree is an excellent book.
Yeah.
Spiritual even.
Yeah. No, these books are like magical, and Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, another one of my favorites.
Oh, those ones scare me.
They were
Remember
scary.
The one where like she has a pimple on her face and then it explodes and just spiders come out? Yeah. We'll never forget.
Yeah. The it's just,
the illustrations are wild in those.
I'm very inspired by like my childhood right now, and like books that I liked and things like that, because I'm writing. So yeah.
Something else I've been really enjoying, I actually got this set for Lola over the summer, but it's like a bunch of these books that are focused on different, I guess, topics. But one is like crystals, rocks, minerals, and geology. The other one is like space.
Oh,
The other
cool.
one is
Like science stuff.
like
Yeah.
sciencey stuff. But there's something undeniably spiritual about learning about how
Oh,
our
yeah.
Earth works.
Yes.
Like it is just so exciting to me. And it's kind of like, what did Einstein say? Like the more someone studies the stars, the more undeniable it is that there's a higher power
Yeah.
at the center of it all. And like that's how I feel when I read about like just like gravity and shit.
It's
stars and shit.
There are
I'm
things.
like, oh fuck, that's so like that is magic.
There was another episode of that series called Unknown on Netflix about this. I forgot what it was called, but it was about this like space shuttle launch that was like an impossible mission with like 300 things that could go wrong at any moment. And they were successful. And they were doing it because space-time, you can time travel in space because light takes a long time to get to us and shit. I don't know. But like you could time travel, send something back literally in time. And they sent this thing. They were trying to get back to our moment of creation, meaning the Big Bang, when a star exploded and then our universe, like they're trying to get back to that moment to see, to confirm or to know like what happened. And it went back. I can't remember if it got all the way back, but it was taking pictures of it. It's wild. And it's like, they're like, you know, all the scientists are like, oh, that's a spiral and it's a red knot and all these like, they're like, oh my God, they're like crying. And I was just like, these people understand what this is. And it's wild because we're like literally made from stars,
I
not
know,
star
isn't it
seeds.
so cool? Stars.
That
like,
doesn't mean we're star
stardust.
seeds.
How cool is that we are all stardust?
We
like
are.
that
Our
makes me
teeth are made
emotional.
from it really does.
Mhm.
Still not a star seed. It's fine.
Still
but
not a
like,
star seed.
but we are.
Mhm.
And it's crazy.
It's so
Being
cool.
human is crazy.
I know.
So anyway, that's a really cool. The one about the hominid that I think it was Neuraldi. Homo neuraldi is the species name that they discovered. That made me
I gotta watch that.
emotional. It was like, oh my! And there was this really beautiful like animation that went with it of like the you know the how they might look and how they might have acted and like them. Yeah, they're basically they were like their urge to bury the dead means that they loved each other.
Yes.
The urge to bury and to have right means that you love each other, and having love and emotion enough to it was you need to watch that.
I love that.
You would really like it. It was very beautiful and just like big picture shit. Yeah. I was really surprised how well done it was. I was like, usually I watch those ones where it's like, we're going to the tomb of blah blah blah, and then they just like do some stupid shit, and I'm like popcorn.
The corny reenactments.
Well, like These Woods Are Haunted is super super corny. That's the other one about the. I watch a lot of haunted television.
I know you do.
But this one was really good. The Unknown series on Netflix was really good. So
I'm going to look into that for sure.
yeah.
Wow.
Anyway,
this has been a magically fiery episode.
yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in to Third Eye Bind.
Be sure to leave us a message on the Third Eye line. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening. You can follow the podcast at Third Eye Bind Pod on Instagram. There, submit your questions via the Third Eye line by sending us a voice message or text DM. The show is available wherever you listen to podcasts and for you to watch on YouTube. Get early access to episodes and even monthly one-on-one sessions with us by joining our Patreon. Find us at patreon.com/thirdeyebind. Third Eye Bind is produced and edited by Mike Realm. Hosted by Caitlin Grania and Laura Wong. Music by Mike Realm. Set design by Laura Wong. You can find Laura on Instagram at Lady Moon Co. And you can find Caitlin at caitlin.grania.